Ever wondered why the battle between Meta and the European Union seems to be a never-ending saga? It's 2024, and yet again we find ourselves in the midst of a data privacy standoff. The spark this time? Meta's controversial consent or payment model. The European Data Protection Committee is having none of it, demanding Meta to offer a genuine choice in data processing for users, without a paywall. Let's delve into the chronology of this fascinating conflict to better understand its roots and implications. The tension between Meta and the EU didn't spring up overnight. No, this was a long time brewing, a digital tempest in a teapot of data privacy and regulation. In the early days, Meta, then known as Facebook, navigated a relatively unregulated internet landscape. But as its user base grew, so did concerns about how it handled personal data. The European Union, always a champion of consumer rights, started to take notice. It was the introduction of the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, in 2018 that really shook things up. This regulation was a game changer, a bold statement that said, user data is not a free resource. For Meta, this was a significant blow. The company's entire business model was built around leveraging user data for targeted advertising. GDPR forced Meta to rethink its approach, to reassess its relationship with user data. But the introduction of GDPR wasn't a smooth transition. There were accusations, fines, and endless debates about what constitutes informed consent. The tension between Meta and the EU was palpable, a clash of titans that brought into sharp focus the delicate balance between technological innovation and user privacy. And just when we thought things couldn't get any more complex, they did. The stage was set for a new chapter in this ongoing saga, a chapter that would redefine the relationship between tech companies and their users. The situation took a turn for the worse when Meta proposed a controversial solution to the data privacy issue. The tech giant, in an attempt to circumnavigate the stringent data protection laws of the European Union, proposed what they called a consent or payment model. This model was designed to give users two key options: consent to the use of their data for advertising purposes, or pay for a subscription to avoid data usage. This move by Meta was fueled by the changes in the EU's data protection laws, which essentially forced Meta to introduce a paid subscription option for its services. The concept seemed straightforward on the surface, but it sparked considerable controversy. The heart of the issue was that the model created an unfair situation for users. They were cornered into making a choice between shelling out money to secure their privacy or allowing their personal information to be used for advertising. The European Data Protection Committee was quick to react, rejecting Meta's proposal outright. The committee stated in no uncertain terms that the consent or payment model was not acceptable within the European Union. In their view, Meta must offer users a genuine choice regarding their data processing, a choice that was conspicuously absent in the proposed model. The committee demanded that Meta provide a third option, one that respects user privacy without requiring payment. This third option would ensure that users' rights to privacy were not contingent on their ability or willingness to pay. The committee's decision was not just a suggestion, but a clear directive. Failure to comply with this could have serious implications for Meta, potentially jeopardizing its operations in the European Economic Area. Thus, the conflict escalated, leaving Meta at a crossroads. The tech giant was faced with a crucial decision that could shape its future in the European market. Meta was left with two choices: comply or risk its operations in the European Economic Area. Today, the conflict between Meta and the EU is at a critical juncture. We're at the crossroads of a monumental standoff that is about more than just one tech giant and a regulatory body. This clash is a reflection of the wider global conversation about data privacy, corporate responsibility, and the rights of the individual in the digital age. The European Data Protection Committee's strong rejection of Meta's consign or pay model has thrown a wrench into the works. They've made it abundantly clear that Meta's approach is not just unacceptable, but also a breach of the EU's stringent data protection laws. And the committee isn't just talking tough. They have the power to back up their words with actions that could severely disrupt Meta's operations in the European Economic Area. But what does this mean for users? Well, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, the EU's stand could lead to better protection of user data and privacy. On the other, it could also mean that users in the EU may have to face restricted access to Meta's services, or even pay for services that have always been free. For the broader tech industry, this conflict could set a powerful precedent. If Meta buckles under the pressure and changes its model, it could trigger a ripple effect throughout the industry. Other tech giants may be forced to rethink their strategies and business models, especially those that rely heavily on user data for revenue. But let's not forget, Meta is a formidable player in this game. They've weathered similar storms before and have the resources to fight this battle. Will they bow to the pressure, or will they double down and risk the consequences? That's the million-dollar question. As we wait for the next move in this high-stakes chess game, one thing is clear: the outcome will have far-reaching effects on the future of data privacy. The decisions made today will shape how we navigate the digital world tomorrow. This is not just a fight between Meta and the EU, it's a fight for the future of our digital lives. So, where does this leave us? In the year 2024, the conflict between the European Union and Meta, previously known as Facebook, has reached a significant turning point. The European Data Protection Committee's rejection of Meta's consent or payment model for handling user data is more than a mere regulatory decision. It's a bold statement, a stand against the tech giant's approach to privacy, signaling a shift in the dynamics between tech companies and regulatory bodies. It all started with the EU's stringent data protection laws, which forced Meta to introduce a paid subscription model. This, in turn, sparked a controversial situation where users were left with two less than ideal choices: pay to avoid data usage or let their data be utilized for advertising. The EU's current stance, however, goes beyond just opposing this dichotomy. The committee has mandated Meta to provide a third option, one that respects user privacy without requiring payment. This is a clear affirmation of the EU's commitment to user privacy and a challenge to Meta's business model, which heavily relies on data usage for advertising. The implications of this standoff are far-reaching. Meta's operations in the European Economic Area hang in the balance, as failure to comply with the committee's ruling could have serious repercussions, but the implications extend beyond Meta. Other tech giants will likely be watching this conflict closely, as it could set a precedent for how privacy issues are handled in the future. In the grand scheme of things, this conflict represents the growing tension between tech giants and regulators. It's a tension that stems from differing views on privacy, user rights, and the role of technology in society, and it's a tension that isn't going away anytime soon. Whatever the outcome, this conflict underscores the growing tension between tech giants and regulators, a tension that will undoubtedly shape the digital landscape in the years to come.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked this video, you can watch also this one. In my channel, you can also see videos like this. Leave a like and subscribe. See you soon.